quiet knock, 3,800 words written in simple English lowercase style for narration. Keanu Reeves stood still in the dim hallway, just outside Ana de Armas's door. The city behind him buzzed with the usual late-night traffic, but inside this old apartment building, there was only silence. The soft yellow light above flickered once, then steadied. He glanced down at what he was holding in his hand, something he had never imagined he'd bring here. His fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, not from nerves, but from the weight of what this moment meant. He had thought about it for days, maybe even weeks. And now, here he was, outside her door, holding something that could change everything between them. He knocked once, gentle, respectful, and then he waited inside. Ana sat on the floor of her living room, surrounded by open boxes and scattered memories. Old letters, photos, scripts she never finished. She was in sweatpants, no makeup, hair tied up without care. Her face looked tired, but not just physically. There was a quiet sadness there. It's a kind that stays hidden from cameras and lights. She wasn't expecting anyone, definitely not this late. When she heard the knock, she didn't move at first, just stared at the door. For some reason, her heart started beating faster. Then, slowly, she got up and walked to it. She opened it. Only halfway, and froze there, stood Keanu in a black jacket. His eyes gentle, but filled with something she couldn't read right away. And in his hands, held carefully, was a folded piece of paper. It was worn at the edges, the kind of paper that had been opened and closed many times. "I found this," he said softly. "I never meant for you to see it, but I think—" Ana didn't speak. Her breath caught in her throat. Something in her chest shifted. "Can I come in?" he asked, with that quiet voice that never demanded, only offered. She stepped aside. And he entered. The room was messy, but not in a careless way. It looked like someone was trying to find something, or maybe trying to let go of everything. Keanu looked around, then back at her. "Packing," she nodded. "Thinking of moving? Running?" he asked. Her eyes met his. "Maybe." Sat on the edge of the couch, the letter still in his hand. She sat across from him. "What is it?" she asked. "Why now?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at the letter. "I wrote this 5 years ago. The night we wrapped that small indie film in Iceland. Remember?" She nodded slowly. "The one no one saw." He smiled a little, but we did. They had shared a moment on that icy set. A moment neither of them ever spoke about again. The wind had howled. The power had gone out. And they had sat by the fire, talking about things most people never knew. Dreams, regrets, things they had lost. Things they never dared to say aloud. "I wrote it the next morning," Keanu said, "but I never sent it. I thought it would ruin everything." Ana looked at the letter. Her hands didn't reach for it yet, and now, he said, "I think the silence is worse." He handed it to her. She took it slowly, like it was something fragile. Her hands shook as she unfolded it. Keanu stood. "I'll wait outside. Read it in your time." "Oh," she said suddenly. "Stay?" He sat again, and she began to read. The letter wasn't long, but every word felt like a whisper she'd waited years to hear. He had written about that night, about the way she laughed in the dark when the wind screamed outside, how he saw in her something he never saw in himself, courage to feel, courage to cry. He had written, "I don't know if this is love. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not love at all. But I know one thing. When I'm near you, the silence inside me breaks." Ana didn't speak for a long time after reading Keanu. Just sat there, not pushing, not begging. Finally, she whispered, "Why did you never tell me?" "Because I was afraid you'd walk away," he said. "I couldn't handle that." Ana set the letter on the table. "And now I'm ready," he said. "Even if you walk away." She looked at him, the first time in a long while. Her eyes weren't tired, they were just full. "You waited 5 years," she said. "And I'd wait 5 more," he replied. "But I'd rather not." Her lips curled into a small smile, not wide, not certain, but real. The silence between them was no longer empty. It held everything they never said. Outside, the city kept moving. But in that small apartment, something else began. She stood, walked over to him, and sat beside him. "I'm not running," she said quietly. "Good," he replied, "because this time, I'm not letting go." The letter and the lie, 3,800 words, lowercase style, emotional, suspenseful, and deeply human. Ana couldn't sleep that night. Even after Keanu left quietly, respectfully, like he always did, the weight of his words still pressed down on her chest. The letter lay beside her on the pillow, unfolded as if it needed to breathe beside her too. It wasn't the kind of letter that asked for anything. Not love, not answers, not even forgiveness. It was a letter of truth, and sometimes truth is the heaviest thing in the world. She lay on her side, eyes open, staring into the quiet. But memories don't sleep. That night in Iceland had never really left her. She had buried it under work, under award shows, premieres, the flashing cameras, and interviews. But no matter how bright the spotlight was, there was always that one corner of her heart that stayed dark, untouched. Untouched by anyone but him. And now he had reopened it with just a knock and a letter. The next morning, Ana stood on the balcony of her apartment with a cup of coffee in her hands. The city stretched before her, but her mind was somewhere else. She didn't notice her phone buzzing until the third time. It was her agent. She almost didn't answer. "Ana, where are you?" Her agent's voice was sharp but concerned. "Need to talk now." "About what?" Ana asked. "About Keanu? And what you two did?" Ana's heart sank. "What are you talking about? It's all over the internet." Ana rushed inside, grabbed her laptop, and opened the news feed. The headline hit her like a slap: Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas. Secret relationship finally revealed? Leaked letter raises questions. And below that, a scanned copy of the letter. Her heart stopped. "How did this get out?" she whispered. Her agent sounded nervous. "Did you give the letter to anyone?" "No," she said firmly. "Keanu had it. He brought it to me last night. Someone leaked it, and now everyone's talking. It's not just gossip sites. Real outlets are picking it up. They're calling it a staged romance. They think it's a publicity move for your upcoming film." Ana closed her eyes. "This wasn't supposed to happen. You need to get ahead of this," her agent said, "before it gets worse." Ana hung up. Then she did something she hadn't done in months. She called Keanu. He picked up after. Just one ring. "I saw it," he said before she could speak. "How?" she asked. "My assistant texted me the link this morning." "Did you tell anyone?" "No," he said quietly. "I would never." Ana believed him. Deep down she did. But the pain of the leak still burned. "I need to see you," she said. He didn't hesitate. "I'm already on my way." They met at a small cafe in the hills. It's the kind of place where no one asks for autographs. Keanu sat across from her, his hair still damp from the rain, eyes tired but calm. "Do you think someone broke into your place?" she asked. He shook. His head, "No. The letter was with me the whole time. It's in my jacket." "Then how did it get out?" Keanu looked down. Unless what?" "Unless someone saw it before I took it to you. I had it in my trailer on set last week. I left it on the desk for a few hours. Who knew? Just the crew. Maybe my assistant. But I never told anyone what it was." Ana leaned back, feeling the weight of everything. "They think we're using each other. For fame, for attention. You know the truth," Keanu said. "Let them talk." She stared at him. "Do you really believe that?" "That truth is enough." He looked into her eyes. "I believe it's all we've got." But truth wasn't always enough. Within hours, their names were trending. Its old interviews were being dug up. Every look, every shared laugh, every red carpet moment was being re-examined under a new, suspicious lens. "They don't want us to be real," Ana whispered later that day. "Because if we're real, it ruins the story they've written about us." "Then maybe it's time we tell our own story," Keanu replied. Ana wanted to believe that. She wanted to stand tall and brave and say it didn't matter what anyone thought. But the truth? She was scared. Because this wasn't just about love or letters or leaked headlines. This was about trust. She wasn't sure if the world or even her own heart could handle what came next. They left the cafe in silence, but as they stepped out into the evening light, something happened. A little girl walked up to them, maybe 8 or 9, shy, holding her mom's hand. "Are you Anna?" she asked softly. Anna nodded. The girl held up a folded piece of paper. "My brother said you were sad, so I made you a drawing." Anna knelt down and took it gently. It was a simple sketch, a stick-figure girl standing beside a tall figure. In black, under a sky filled with stars, the little girl smiled. "You looked like friends." Keanu crouched beside Anna. "We are," he said. The girl grinned and ran off. Anna looked at the drawing, then at Keanu, and in that moment, she realized something. They weren't just part of someone else's story. They were writing their own, even if it came with pain, misunderstanding, with risk. She folded the child's drawing carefully, as if it were more precious than any headline. "Let's find out who leaked the letter," she said. "You want to fight back?" Keanu asked. "No," she whispered. "I want the truth, because maybe that's the only thing strong enough to survive all this." Keanu nodded, and with that, they walked off together, not as a scandal, not as co-stars, not even as lovers, but as two people who had nothing to prove except that the quiet, honest moments between them were real. The name behind the leak, 3,800 words, lowercase style, emotional, suspenseful, and deeply human. Ana de Armas sat by the window of her apartment, the child's drawing still pinned to the fridge behind her. It had been 3 days since the letter leaked. 3 days of silence between interviews, fake apologies from networks, phone calls from people who used to be friends, now suddenly full of opinions, and still no answers. The world kept spinning, cameras kept flashing, but something inside her had changed. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid to face the mess. Because this time, the mess had a name. She intended to find it. Keanu Reeves was sitting across from her, quiet as always. He'd been her shadow through the chaos, never overstepping, never demanding attention. Present, steady, grounding. "I've been thinking," Anna said, her voice calm. "Someone had to know where you kept the letter." "My trailer." "Wasn't locked," Keanu said, "but it was on a private lot. Only crew and production had access." Anna looked down. "And your assistant?" He sighed. "I trust her. She's worked with me for years, but she's the only one who would have had a reason to touch your things." "I'll talk to her," he said, already reaching for his phone. Anna stopped him. "No, let me." He blinked. "You. People lie to you when they care about you," she said softly, "but they don't lie the same way to strangers." An hour later, Anna walked into the studio lot alone, her baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses hiding tired eyes. She found Lila, Keanu's assistant, just finishing a call outside the editing room. Lila was in her 20s, sharp, energetic, always one step ahead. She looked up and smiled when she saw Anna. "Oh, hey, didn't expect to see you here," Anna forced a gentle smile. "Can we talk?" Lila nodded. "Sure, Keanu, okay?" Anna paused. "He doesn't know I'm here." The younger woman's expression shifted slightly, but she recovered quickly. "Okay, come on, let's sit." They walked to a shaded bench by the trailers. Anna waited until they were alone before speaking. "You know about the letter?" she said. Lila hesitated. "The one from Iceland?" Anna's eyes narrowed. "Keanu never told you what it was? Just had it in his trailer?" Lila looked down. I may have seen it on the desk. Didn't read it, though, I swear." "But you knew it was about me." Lila didn't answer. Anna leaned forward, her voice gentle but firm. "Someone leaked that letter. Someone scanned it and sent it to the press. And it wasn't me." Lila's hands started to tremble. Anna waited. Finally, the truth cracked. "I didn't mean to hurt you," Lila whispered. I thought it would help him." "Help him how?" "People said he was fading. I thought if they saw this side of him, the vulnerable side, Maybe it would remind the world how real he is. Ana stared at her. You thought exposing something personal would be good for his image? Lila's eyes were watery. Didn't know it would explode like this. I sent it anonymously to a small blog. I thought it would just be a sweet rumor. I never meant for it to go viral. Ana stood up slowly. You didn't just betray him. You stole his choice, Lila whispered. Please don't tell him. Why? Because I already lost his trust once. I can't lose it again. Ana's heart clenched. The old her. The one who wanted to avoid conflict might have walked away. But not this time. You have to tell him, she said quietly. Or I will. That night, Keanu met her on the rooftop of her building. She told him everything. He didn't yell. Didn't even flinch. He just sat in silence for a long time, looking out over the city lights. She meant well, he said. Finally, but that doesn't make it right. What are you going to do? Ana asked. Keanu took a deep breath. I'm going to forgive her, but I'm not going to work with her again. Ana nodded. You're kinder than I am. He said, I'm just tired of holding anger. They sat together under the stars. It's not speaking. Then Keanu reached into his jacket. I brought something, he said. Ana turned to him. He pulled out a photo, old faded, of the two of them from that night in Iceland. They were sitting by the fire, both laughing at something off camera. The moment looked warm, unfiltered, untouched by the world's noise. This was the night I knew, said Ana. Looked at the photo. Knew what? That I could love you? Even if you never felt the same? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she took the photo and held it gently, like it was a memory she could still reach into then. Softly, she said, I never stopped feeling it. I just stopped trusting it. Keanu looked at her. Do you trust it now? Ana's eyes glistened in the moonlight. I'm starting to, she whispered, and for the first time since the letter surfaced, the silence between them felt safe again. But down below, in the shadows of the city, another hand was already at work. A producer. It's an old friend of Ana's. Someone who had once stood beside her on red carpets, smiled for cameras, and whispered praise into her ear. Now, he was pitching a new angle to the media, one filled with lies, jealousy, and bitter ambition, because not everyone wanted their story to end with truth. Some wanted it to burn. Betrayal wears a smile, 3,800 words, lowercase style, emotional, suspenseful, and deeply human. The morning after the rooftop, Ana woke with something she hadn't felt in weeks. Clarity. She moved slowly through her apartment, making coffee, brushing her hair, looking out at the street below. People hurried to work, carried groceries, walked dogs. Life in all its mess went on. Keanu had given her space. He didn't call, didn't text. He just trusted her to find her own rhythm. Again. And she appreciated that more than words could say. She scrolled through her phone, opening news feeds carefully. For once, the headlines weren't about them. The storm had quieted, but that peace was brief. A new headline flashed across her screen, one that made her blood run cold. Ana de Armas, accused of manipulating Keanu Reeves. Insider reveals she leaked the letter herself. She read it 3 times. The article was full of half-truths and twisted quotes. And then she saw the name Martin Hale. He was listed as the anonymous insider. But Ana knew better. She didn't need confirmation. She recognized the fingerprints of betrayal. Martin Hale had once been her closest friend in the industry. They'd shared dinners, late-night talks, hopes, frustrations. He was there when she landed her first big role. He cheered when her career took off. But somewhere along the way, things changed when she turned down his film last year. A script that didn't feel right. A deal that wasn't fair. He had smiled and said he understood. Now she knew that smile had teeth. Ana didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat in silence, the weight of it pressing down on her chest. She picked up the phone and called Keanu. He answered quickly. Are you okay? No, she said. They've started again. She told him everything. He didn't hesitate. Come over now. Keanu's home was quiet, like always. Warm wood floors, shelves full of books, walls filled with soft light and meaning. Ana walked in and collapsed onto the couch. He handed her a cup of tea, not because it fixed anything, but because he knew the value of a small kindness in the middle of chaos. She showed him the article. He read it slowly, jaw clenched. "Martin," he said, "I should have known. I always felt something off." Ana looked at him. "Why would he do this? Because you said no? Some people only love you when you say yes?" "I want to respond," she said, "but I'm tired." Keanu sat beside her. "Then don't fight with your words. Fight with truth." "How?"
Ow.
He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "We go public, but on our own terms. No interviews. No gossip sites. We film something, just us. No scripts. Tell the story, not for them. For us." Ana hesitated. "What if it makes things worse? What if it sets us free?" She looked at him, really looked. There was no performance. In him, no agenda. Just quiet conviction. "Okay," she whispered. "Let's do it." 2 days later, they sat in Keanu's living room, a small camera on a tripod in front of them. No makeup, no lighting crew, just raw light from the window and the weight of honesty between them. Keanu pressed record. He spoke first. "This isn't a confession. This isn't damage control. This is truth." He told the story of the letter, of the years of silence, how he never intended anyone to read it but her. Ana spoke next. She talked about fear, about how fame makes you build walls so high you forget who you are behind them. And then she said the words that made Keanu's hand find hers. "I didn't leak that letter. I'm not angry that people saw it because it was real. And maybe people need to see something real again." When they finished, they didn't watch it. They just uploaded it. One video, one title. "This is our truth." They closed the laptop and went for a walk. No hiding, no sunglasses, no running. They didn't need to check the internet to know what would happen next, because Martin Hale, for all his fake charm and backroom whispers, had made one mistake. He underestimated the power of two people choosing honesty over fear. Hours later, the internet lit up. The video was raw, quiet, vulnerable. And it didn't scream for attention. It asked for understanding. People responded not with outrage, not with hate, but with something rare: empathy. Strangers wrote, "I believe them." Others shared, "I've been there too, afraid to tell the truth." Some just wrote, "Thank you." Even celebrities who had stayed silent started to repost it, but not Martin Hale. He vanished from the spotlight like a ghost caught in the light. Ana and Keanu didn't celebrate. They didn't post follow-ups or victory quotes. They just sat on that same rooftop again, watching the night fall over the city. "Do you think it's over?" Ana asked. Keanu shook his head. "No, but I think it's quieter now." "And us?" she asked. "What are we?" Keanu looked at her eyes, soft. "Not a story, not a headline, not a secret." She smiled. "Just real." He nodded. "Just real." They didn't kiss. Not yet. They didn't need to. Some things grow slow. Some things grow strong, and some things survive the fire without ever needing to burn. What silence couldn't hide, 3,800 words, lowercase style, emotional, suspenseful, and deeply human. The days after their video went live were strangely quiet. Not the kind of quiet that comes with being ignored, but the kind that comes with being understood, even for just a moment. The internet didn't break. The world didn't flip over. But something shifted. Ana de Armas felt it in the way strangers smiled at her without expectations. She saw it in the messages from young actors who said, "You reminded me why I started this." And Keanu, he didn't change much. He still rode the same motorcycle, still stopped for fans on the street, still left generous tips without leaving. His name, but inside them both, something had softened. One evening, they met at a small bookstore tucked in the back streets of Los Feliz. It was Ana's favorite, one that smelled of old paper and dreams that hadn't yet faded. Keanu had arrived first, sitting in the back corner with 2 coffees and a book in hand. Ana slipped into the seat across from him and smiled. "Always pick the quietest places." "Maybe because I spent too much time in loud ones," he replied. They spoke for an hour about nothing and everything. Books, silence, old films, memories of the Iceland shoot, that windy night neither. of them could forget. Then, just as Ana was about to suggest, they go for a walk. A woman approached. She was in her late 60s, wearing a soft blue cardigan and carrying an envelope. "I'm sorry," she said gently. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I recognized you, both of you, from the video." Keanu stood, smiling kindly. "It's okay." The woman held out the envelope. "My husband passed away 3 months ago. We used to sit right here every Sunday. He was quiet like you," she said, nodding to Keanu. "And bold like her," she added, glancing at Ana. Ana's single quote's eyes welled up slightly. "Your video?" the woman said, her voice trembling. "It reminded me that not all beautiful things need to be perfect. They just need to be true." She handed them the envelope. "This was the last letter he ever wrote me. I want you to have a copy. Maybe you'll understand why." They opened the envelope later that night, back at Ana's place, with soft jazz playing low and the world outside forgetting about them for once. The letter inside was handwritten. Shaky, but full of light. It talked about love, about how real. Love isn't loud, it's patient, about how silence isn't empty. It's waiting. Ana held the letter to her chest. "Why does this feel like it was meant for us?" Keanu looked at her, something warm in his eyes. "Maybe because we were meant to see it." The next day, they got a call from the Academy. They wanted Keanu and Ana to present together at the annual awards, not as performers. Promotion, but as something else. "We'd like you both to speak about honesty and storytelling," the Academy rep said. "Your video touched the industry more than any staged campaign ever could." Ana hesitated. "This isn't a publicity stunt, is it?" "Not at all," the rep replied. "This is about truth, how much the world needs it right now." Keanu agreed on one condition: no rehearsed speeches. "If we're going to stand on that stage," he told Ana, "we speak from the heart, or not at all." Ana nodded. "Deal." The night of the awards was surreal. Ana wore a simple dress. No glitter, no diamonds. Just grace. Keanu wore the same suit he always did. Pressed, elegant, unpretentious. They stood backstage together. Calm but quiet. Ana looked up at him. "Do you think they'll listen?" Keanu shrugged gently. "We don't need everyone to. Just the ones who need to hear it." When their names were called, the room lit up with applause. But neither of them smiled wide. They walked slowly, hand in hand, to the podium. And when the crowd hushed, Ana spoke first. "A few months ago, I was afraid of silence. I thought if I didn't speak loud enough, people would forget me. Now I understand. Sometimes silence is just the sound of healing." Keanu stepped forward. "We tell stories for a living, but sometimes the stories we hide are the ones that need to be told the most. This year, I shared one of mine. Not by choice, but I'm grateful it found the light." Ana continued, "We're not perfect, but we're trying. And if you're sitting in this room or watching from home, wondering if the truth will break you, I promise you it might just save you instead." The room was still. Then a slow standing ovation began. Not because of fame, not because of beauty, because two people stood on that stage with nothing but truth in their hands. After the show, as flashbulbs burst and interviews swarmed the halls, Ana and Keanu slipped away to the back exit. No limo. No after-dash party. Just the quiet night, a shared breath, a walk under the stars. Ana stopped under a streetlight and turned to him. "I don't know what comes next," she said. "Me neither," he replied. "But I don't want to lose this." "Then, don't," Keanu said softly. "Let's not let the world rush us." "No labels, no pressure, just real?" she asked. He smiled. "Just real." She reached for his hand, and in that simple touch they both knew something deep, the kind of knowing that doesn't come from scripts or fame or grand gestures. They knew. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were growing. The last thing he never said, 3,800 words, lowercase style, emotional, suspenseful, and deeply human weeks passed. Not fast, not slow. Just real. Ana and Keanu returned to their quiet lives. No dramatic announcements, no staged photos. They worked. When they felt inspired, they rested. When they were tired, they laughed more often. And for the first time in years, neither of them felt watched, only seen. The video they posted had settled into something unexpected. It became a reference, a reminder, a whisper in the world saying, "You're allowed to feel." They started getting letters from strangers, long, honest, handwritten stories from people who had also loved in silence, or lost quietly, or dared to be vulnerable for the first time. Ana kept them in a box under her bed. She read them at night, one by one. Keanu, on the other hand, started writing back. Not to all, just a few. It's the ones that felt like echoes of a younger him one night. After reading a letter from a retired teacher who had never told his partner he was sick, Keanu paused. Ana noticed the look on his face. "What is it?" she asked. He folded the letter gently, said, "I thought silence was safer, but now I know it was just lonelier." Ana's heart ached. She walked over, sat beside him, and placed her hand on his. "You're not alone." Keanu looked at her, really looked, and that's when he said it. Not the big words. It's not a performance. Just for soft syllables. "I love you." Ana didn't cry. She smiled deeply and whispered back, "I know. I've always known." Life, even at its most beautiful, is never still. Ana was offered a role, a powerful one. A film that would take her to Morocco for 3 months. A character she had once been afraid to play because it was so raw, so exposed. "Do it," Keanu said when she hesitated. "Don't stay for me. I'll be here." "What if I change over?" "There?" she asked. "Then I'll meet the new you when you get back," he replied with a small smile. "And fall in love all over again?" Ana left 2 weeks later. They didn't make promises. They didn't plan video calls or send daily updates. They trusted, and trust, they'd learned, was the quietest kind of love, but also the strongest. While she was gone, Keanu lived simply. He visited old friends, rode his bike along the coast, volunteered at a local school once a week, helping kids write their first short stories, but something inside him kept shifting. Not breaking, shifting. He wrote more in journals. On napkins, in margins of scripts, he wrote about pain, joy, about Ana. And he wrote one letter. He folded it, sealed it, placed it in the back of a drawer. 3 months passed, then 4. Ana's return was quiet. No press, no announcements. Just a key in the door and a deep breath as she stepped into her apartment. Keanu had filled it with little signs of life. A vase of fresh flowers. Her favorite tea by the stove. A note that simply read, "Whenever you're ready, I'm just." Up the street, she smiled. She was ready. They met that night, under the same streetlight from before. He looked older somehow. Wiser, but softer too. They didn't speak at first. They just stood there, close. Then Ana said, "I brought something." She handed him a photo taken on set in Morocco, her sitting on a sand dune at sunset, holding a notebook with her hair blowing wildly in the wind. "I wrote poems," she said. "About you, Keanu." Took the photo gently, and you. Asked, "What did you do while I was gone?" He smiled. "I found peace." She tilted her head. "And did you write anything?" He hesitated. Then slowly he pulled the sealed letter from his jacket. "I wrote this before you left," he said. "But I didn't want to give it to you then. I didn't want it to be a goodbye." Ana held it softly. "Can I read it now?" Nodded. She stepped under the light, unfolded the letter, and began. "If you're reading this, it means you came back. Not just to me, but to yourself. To the part of you that believed love could be simple, gentle, honest. I never wanted to hold you back. I only wanted to hold space for you. And when the world quiets down, and your heart tells you it's safe again, I'll still be here, not waiting, just being." Ana's eyes glistened. She folded the letter and walked to him. "Then be here," she whispered. "Right now." He didn't say anything. He just held her. Weeks later, they moved in together. Not because the world expected it. Not because love stories have to end in keys and kitchens. But because, for once, The silence between them asked for nothing more. They still didn't do interviews. They didn't post about each other. But they did walk every evening, hand in hand, and strangers who saw them didn't rush over. They just smiled. Because some stories don't need to be told loudly, they just need to be lived. One night, Ana found Keanu asleep on the couch, a pen still in his hand. A notebook open on his chest. On the page in his handwriting were the last words of a poem, "Love is not the fire. It is the warmth that stays after." She kissed his forehead, closed the notebook, and lay beside him.